Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Nick Stellman. I'm the COO of Digital Motors. Our mission is to transform automotive retail by powering a digital car buying and financing experience. I've spent more than 15 years in the automotive industry, having come up through Daimler Chrysler and Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. I'm also an entrepreneur, having started a couple of companies in the automotive and fintech space. In those 15 years, all of my roles have been focused on improving the consumer and dealer experience. And in today's environment, that's not easy. Dealers have big challenges they have to contend with. It's an ultra-competitive environment. Dealers struggle with deteriorating margins on new car sales. There's consumer frustration caused by time spent at the sales desk and in the F&I office. And it's a noisy, fragmented system landscape. At Digital Motors, we work with dealers to cut through the noise and create cutting-edge modern retail solutions. We're a technology enabler that empowers dealers with an online retailing platform that plugs into your existing system and process landscape. Our state-of-the-art platform allows a consumer to buy or lease a car in a few simple steps. Consumers can shop through available inventory. They can take advantage of discounts, rebates, and incentives that are out there in the market. Consumers can value their trade, shop for aftermarket products, even secure approved offers of financing from the lenders you do business with. But it's not a prescriptive process. We allow a consumer to desk as much of the deal online as they want to, or seamlessly transition into the brick-and-mortar world of the dealership at any point in the process. And in doing so, we give dealers full visibility into what that user's destined line. Now, why is that important? Because consumers demand a better retail experience. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise to any of us. Year after year, we all read the same consumer studies confirming that consumers dislike the traditional automotive retail process. The automotive retail process has been increasingly moving online in recent years and is projected to grow another 38% by 2025. Consumers clearly want the ability to do more online, and in fact, 70% of consumers surveyed have even said they'd be willing to pay more for a sophisticated digital retail experience. COVID-19 has obviously accelerated this trend, and the last year has been truly unprecedented time in our industry. Early on in the pandemic, many dealers were forced to close their showrooms. At one point, I think it was 47% of dealerships were forced to close through state orders and regulations. As restrictions loosened, limited production and low inventory levels then created a robust demand in the market, with many dealers achieving their best years ever. Even so, dealers must still contend with the in-store health risk factors for consumers and staff. And likewise, dealers have had to become more efficient with less resources. Whatever your thoughts on COVID-19, it's now clear that we'll have to adjust to the new normal rather than waiting for our old normal to return. And what worked in the past clearly won't work effectively today. The typical consumer is not going to spend 3 hours in a dealership on their Saturday afternoon. And dealers are going to have to evolve to a modern retailing experience, a transactable online presence to complement their showroom experience. But what does that look like? We're all familiar with the traditional retail process. The average consumer spends 16 hours online researching their purchase before they ever go into a dealership. And invariably, they always land on a web page inviting them to get today's e-price. Only when the consumer clicks on that call to action, they're not presented with an e-price. They're presented with a 5-line lead form inviting them to provide their contact information. And when the consumer fills out that form, their phone then gets inundated with multiple phone calls, texts, and emails, sometimes from numerous dealers, all vying to get the consumer to come into their dealership. When the consumer finally does go into their showroom, they're then forced to spend several hours in the dealership. Is this how you want to shop online? Is this how you shop from Apple? Or is this how you shop from Amazon? No, of course not. And consumers don't want to shop that way either. It's a poor consumer experience, and quite frankly, it's a poor dealer experience too. Consumers don't want to shop on a noisy, crowded website that's merely set up to capture their lead. Consumers want a simple, clean, transactable experience akin to Apple or Amazon. The key is to provide consumers with a robust online retailing solution that allows the consumer to desk as much of the deal as they want to online or seamlessly transition into the brick-and-mortar world of the dealership at any point in the process. Traditional online retailing is focused on capturing the consumer's lead. Digital retailing is focused on an end-to-end car buying experience. But most consumers are not ready to buy a car sight unseen online. Many consumers still want to test drive the vehicle, kick the tires, and yes, see the vehicle and get emotional about their purchase experience. Modern retailing, on the other hand, gives the consumer the flexibility to seamlessly transition from the online store to the brick-and-mortar showroom at any point in the process. Modern retailing allows you to take into consideration variations in consumer purchasing behavior. It's all about meeting the consumer where they want to be met on their terms. It allows you to meet customer expectations that have been shaped through retailing experiences like Amazon and Apple. Most consumers want the ability to calculate transparent pricing online, to take advantage of discounts, rebates, and incentives that are out there in the market, to apply for financing before visiting the dealership, to avoid time spent in the dealership. And yes, they want a transparent process that they can trust. Dealers who embrace modern retailing benefit too, through improved CSI scores, operational efficiencies created in the store, and strong F&I results. Of course, there are some dealers who don't believe in modern retailing, and well, they're right. Car dealers don't necessarily need an online store, unless of course they want to stay in business. In terms of best practices, it's critical that dealers provide an online and in-store experience that's consistent with today's consumer expectations. The online store should complement a dealer's showroom experience. The online store should not be prescriptive, forcing the consumer down a particular path. Rather, a consumer should have the ability to complete as much of the deal online as they want to, or transition into the dealership at any point in the process. And the dealer has to have full visibility into what that user's does online. Modern retailing can elevate the consumer and dealer experience. Our dealers report that consumers are more likely to convert if they first visited the online stores. Some of our dealers report 50% higher closing rate on those consumers. And customers usually select more back-end product through a process of self-discovery than they do after spending hours in the F&I office. For example, I can think of a Mercedes-Benz store that was recently launched, and the first customer to enter the store ended up selecting more than $7,000 in aftermarket products. Well, needless to say, the dealer was quite pleased with the online experience. And finally, if a consumer visits the online store prior to coming into the dealership, our dealers say they can usually get that customer in and out of the showroom in under an hour. So what's in it for the dealer? In today's environment, dealers struggle with shrinking margins, high turnover, and deteriorating customer satisfaction scores. An improved online experience can increase showroom traffic and boost sales. These tools can streamline the dealership processes and create efficiencies, allowing dealers to focus on customer and brand experience and mitigate the effects of high turnover. And digital platforms can improve customer engagement and loyalty, resulting in enriched marketing and sales data. Thank you for your time and attention today. I would now like to open it up to Q&A. Okay, well, let's dive into our first question. Someone asked, how long does it take to get a dealership online? That's an excellent question, and something I probably should have mentioned in my original presentation. Once we have everything we need from the dealer, we can have an online store up and running within 24 hours without writing a single line of code. You see, when we set up an online store, we first sit down with the dealer to determine how the store is intended to operate. There's also some additional things we need from the dealer, such as The dealer needs to authorize the feed to their inventory provider, as well as have their website provider install certain CTAs on the dealership website. But once all of this is in place, we can go into our configuration engine and dial in a series of settings for how the store is intended to operate. And this allows us to spin up a store for a dealer in less than 24 hours without writing a single line of code. Excellent question. Moving on to our next question, how much effort on the dealership side does it take to keep the store current? That's another excellent question. You know, through our configuration engine, we've got integrations with the dealer's inventory providers, the trade-in valuation services, F&I providers, CRM integrations. We're pulling in all of the discounts, rebates, and incentives that are out there in the market on the dealer's inventory. We're pulling in all of the APRs, money factors, and residual values from the captives and banks the dealer does business with. And all of these data feeds are automated and update nightly. So there's literally no additional effort on the dealer's part required in order to maintain the store. Excellent question. It looks like several of you have asked, does the Digital Motors platform take over my website? Well, the answer is no, not at all. The online store augments the existing website, enabling end-to-end transactability. And from the consumer's perspective, they're going to feel as if they're within your web property, within your branding. And it's going to feel like a cohesive, holistic consumer experience. Somebody in the lending business asked, is it possible to set up stores on behalf of dealerships that we do business with? That's an excellent question, and absolutely. You know, Digital Motors can power online stores for different stakeholders within the industry. We can power an online store for an individual dealership looking to promote inventory on their lot. We can power online stores for dealer groups looking to promote inventory across their dealerships. We can even power online stores at the Tier 1 level for manufacturers looking to promote inventory across their franchise network. And yes, we can create auto buying marketplaces for automotive lenders looking to create loyalty platforms for their consumer base. Now, incidentally, you know, these marketplaces are obviously a great loyalty platform for the lenders, but it's also a great way for the lenders to deliver additional value back into their dealership network. One participant asked, my dealership uses a few different lenders. How does Digital Motors handle that? Well, we have integrations to DealerTrack and Route 1. So we're able to work with the automotive captives, banks, and financial services companies that the dealer works with today. When a consumer fills out a credit application through our platform, we route that credit application to the lenders the dealers do business with through DealerTrack or Route 1. And those lenders will in turn decision the credit application through their standard underwriting process. Our last question, somebody asked, can Digital Motors handle our used car inventory? Absolutely. Digital Motors can allow consumers to shop for new inventory or pre-owned inventory. Likewise, we can differentiate between pre-owned inventory and certified pre-owned inventory. It's a great platform to service franchise dealerships or as independents as well. Well, that looks like all the questions we have here today. I hope you found today's session helpful, and we appreciate your interest in Digital Motors, and we look forward to working with all of you in the future. Take care.